I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here. Welcome, Ola Wolny on this Divine Design podcast. It's so amazing to have you here.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the opportunity. This is my very first podcast or a video in Norway. It's not even in Norwegian, but it's in Norway. So, a step there. Yes, so thank you so much for having me. Perhaps just a few words about me.
Yep.
I have been changing my life in the last sort of 10 years almost. My background, very corporate kind of background, oil and gas, 15 years of that kind of corporate environment, until I got to a point where I'm not even gonna say that I just felt like I need a change. I got kicked out of that world pretty much. It took me a little bit of time to kind of find my feet on the ground again. But it was pretty obvious that my path is no longer in that world. It is a path in the real world, and the real world apparently is not what we thought it was, right? So the real world turns out to be the world that is much more natural and beautiful, closer to ourselves, closer to our essence. So that was the inner journey, outer journey. I live in the Arctic, just like you. So just a tiny bit down south, but just around the corner from one of the most amazing places I think on earth, I would dare to say. And I work with bringing the feminine wisdom, old feminine wisdom, which is very relevant in the current times, current days. And I know that most women are sort of feeling that somewhere inside something is awakening, something wants to come back, and that's what we are reconnecting to. These are the times for that as well. So this is not only coming from the inside, it's coming from the outside as well. Yeah. For the past few years, I have been connecting with lots and lots of people around the world, but actually not in Norway so much. Working precisely, helping mostly women reconnect with that divine, beautiful, feminine side. Helping them remember certain wisdom that has been hidden from us for centuries on purpose, and sort of bringing all that back. And sort of another part of me is helping people find their life purpose, helping people reconnect with that essence and how that should be expressed. So I'm probably your biggest cheerleader when it comes to really finding pretty much what I had to do, finding what do I want to do when I grow up. I was almost 40 when I had to answer that question, and here I am, happier than ever, never been better. And that's what I wish to everyone, also whoever is watching this tonight.
But we will talk about living in Arctic, because both of us live in Arctic, but you wasn't born here. You come from another country. Maybe you can say something about that.
Sure. So that's very true. I come from Poland, so totally different place, and my journey took me through the UK, through England, a little bit of Scotland. So that was where my oil and gas career fully sort of took shape, and I ended up in Stavanger, which obviously another oil and gas headquarter, this time in Norway, and that was another 5 years for me in that industry. Next move to Harstad, which is where I am now. And that was also related to the oil and gas. That was 8 years ago. And little did I know at the time that that was just one big red herring. That was just a sort of way to lure me in here so that I could really start living my life. And the last 8 years I've been living here, I have totally changed my ways in many, many ways, I would say. And I have been very, very drawn to not only the folklore, the shamanism of I would say across the whole of Scandinavia. I have had a lot to do with shamanism across all cultures, and sort of also took my time. Of course, you cannot get the engineer out of the head, right? So I spent a lot of time studying or sort of reading up on ancient texts, looking into folklore across different cultures, because there's plenty of similarities, looking into mythology, looking into ancient texts, and studying all that to really understand where are we, what's going on, why are we here, where are we going. And out of that, I would say path of feminine alchemy naturally emerged for me, and I think it emerges for a lot of women, that kind of deeper feel and call. You may not have the words for that, you may not necessarily call it in that way, but surely that fire is starting to burn for many of us, and that's exactly that's what happened to me. This is why I'm here, and I never left.
Yeah, but what we have an experience living in the Arctic that are similar, because you guide people to Lofoten and I guide people to Lyngen. Both these places are in Arctic. There are some distance, but both of these places have very strong energy lines, like vortex energy. And I used to say to people when I'm here, it is like being in Sedona. I have so much download, and it's like miracle and mystical happening. It's have every day I live with this, like not like a strange thing, but it is my normal life. And I travel between this Jegervannerlingen and Tromsø. And Tromsø, yeah, it can be good energy there, but something happened in 2015. It has been so much drug there, so all the collective feel is kind of, you can feel the energy has dropped. So being here, it's like when I was guided here, it was like, wow, because before I was guided here, I heard about Sedona, and several of my friends said, can we go to Sedona? And I wanted to join them, but we never went to Sedona. But then I was guided here, and I thought, what is happening? All my body was vibrating. It was like I was flying. And after that, kind of my body adjusting, then a lot of download, having a lot of conversation with people that have passed and other downloads, deep wisdom. And you say that you experienced the same in Lofoten. I was in
Right.
Lofoten when I was a child, so I don't have so much knowledge, but what we discuss, we have spoken once before we meet now in this podcast, and then you describe the same as I experience here, taking people here. So maybe you can share something about the vortex and the energy in Lofoten and in this northern part.
Absolutely. I think that first thing that I do want to address is, especially for people from Norway who are listening to this, or maybe even for people from Lofoten, you know, the Lofoten that I have experienced, the Lofoten that I talk about when people come, that's a different side of Lofoten than what's known to the worldwide tourism, and I do not promote that aspect. I am not for sort of sending masses to, you know, for that Instagram Lofoten. Absolutely not, because that means that you actually don't know where you're coming. Lofoten is so much more. And you know, I had a lady at one of my tours. I call them getaways,
Yeah.
for mostly for women, and she told me that she, several months earlier, she went to Hawaii, and then she came here to Lofoten, and that was summer, and she said that Lofoten looks just like Hawaii. Of course, it doesn't have the exactly the same nature and the plants, etc. We do not have palms here, but we're not far from it, you know. but the literally the that whole landscape, and also the, I think the nature, the there's something about it, and the water, the colors of the water, right? I mean, you know that, you know, the colors of the water in the Arctic. This is like Caribbean. I'm not kidding. You have to experience that. And then on top of that, it's the energy. It's that very, very special energy. And I think that a lot of people who even live in Lofoten, it's a little bit like, unless you know, then you don't know.
Yeah.
You may not be maybe open to this. You may not sort of see things from that perspective. I certainly, I would probably say that one of the reasons why I stayed here was because I discovered Lofoten, and I discovered that energy. It healed me. It prepared me to actually stay here. You know, I'm not from here. This is a little bit alien place for me, right? So for us, people from more sort of southern latitudes, this is a very austere, demanding climate and place. So for us to stay here, there must be something there. And I believe that this area has literally called me. It's the land has called me. Lofoten has called me. And as you say, you refer to that as vortices of energy, and yes, absolutely that. I think that you know, we can kind of marry a little bit between the science and that spiritual aspect, because even when you look from that scientific side, Lofoten has the oldest in the world and the youngest in the world rock formations. So how is that possible? What happened? And when you actually dive a little bit deeper into what are these formations, are they truly just some mountains, or is it something else? What truly happened here? When we're talking about the vortex of energy, right, in Lofoten, what is that vortex? We call them in alchemy, we call them birthing grounds. We call them places where the energy from the underworld, the energy from the womb of the earth, come up to the surface. So it's being born, it's being birthed into the surface, because we are not living in sort of isolation from the earth mother and the cosmic mother. This is all, you know, Yggdrasil is real. It is a representation, right? It's an energetic representation of how these realms interconnect, and how, especially women, because we happen to be mirroring that very structure, because we are also connected and created in that way, that we are connected to the womb of the earth mother and to the cosmic womb, because we as women have a womb as well, right? So there's that simplicity. So we very much represent the same sort of structure. And in Lofoten, I would say that what you can face is that primordial earth energy. You can literally witness, feel, still amazing, that very original energy of creation as in not by any gods or anything, but this is the womb of the earth. This is that cauldron in which everything was cooking until it was birthed, and it is still there to power us. For sure the energy of this region is responsible for my very path and transformation. And I know that when I bring people here, and when we come in there with that very intention and mindful and open to that, and that's what we specifically focus on, and we allow those energies to interact with us, people leave transformed as well. And it's amazing. It's a healing energy, it's a healing place. It is absolutely misrepresented. I would say that, you know, this grand scale tourism that happens in Lofoten, which well, a lot of people obviously feel very sad about, and I think rightly so, because what we miss, what most people miss, is that very aspect. And that's the reverence to the land. Reverence to the spirits of the land must be absolutely given back, and that's part of my mission there.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you said, because I do the same here. And you said if you ask people living in Lofoten, they would not see it the way as you do. And the same with people living in Lyngen, the area I live in now, they will say, I have never heard about you calling this a spiritual place.
Right.
Because here it is a lot of Alp. And a lot of people from all around the world come to Alp to go on skiing. And they know that I don't have a exact percent, but a lot of people are dying in these mountains
Right.
because the energy are so strong. And if we have a lot of stuff, if we haven't worked with our own stuff, people that have a lot of programming that comes to this area say that this is the worst place I have ever been, because the vortex bring it up. So you feel it, it's more intense. So if you are cleaned up, or if you want to transform and you are ready for it, this is also an area that it's so easy to transform. But the
Right.
one who are not spiritual or see themselves of I'm only this body, this is the only thing I am, coming to this area with the energy so strong, they say, oh, it's so terrible being here. It's the worst place I know. So it is an energy place, a lot of vortexes and so much download. And I, as we have talked about earlier, I think it must be very similar. So this energy line, I know that it is in northern part of Norway and directly where it goes. But when I met it first time, I think it's 10 years since, I was working. And in my free time from the workplace I was for a walk to just have a fresh air. And I went into this field, this energy field, and it's like, what's happening? I was in the normal, and then above the street, there was another energy. And some years after, then I came here and rented, and it's like, wow. So the energy line, when we are sensitive and sense the energy, it's very easy to feel where it shifts. And I'm not an expert about Mother Earth and where the energies are, but I'm an expert to notice it. I notice it on my body, even though I don't understand why it is like this here and not in Tromsø or not in all the places. But the energy is very strong here. So if people want to transform, and we have something here that is called the blue ice water, and from foreigner people coming here, they see that as a sacred water, but it is the energy. It's not just the blue ice water because it's the special, as you said, color, and it's like, wow, breathtaking. It's like, wow. But it is all the area. It is the energy, but some of them have planted it on this lake or this water, blue ice water, because it's so stunning. But it is actually all this line, this area that is so powerful. And I think that already now we have a lot of tourists, as you said, but I think also more spiritual um, tourists will come here when they recognize, oh, we have a Sedona in the northern part of Norway.
Absolutely, and I think this is for me for sure. This is part of my mission here. That I am not interested in just bringing tourists here. That's not what I do. I don't work with tourists. I work with people who are appreciating these things, who are also sensitive to energies, and people who are truly coming in a spirit of recognition and reverence to the land. So that there is something, some magic that happens out of that interaction, and something transforms inside of them, but also the region gets sort of exposed from a totally different angle. So that would be my very much big wish, dream, and a sort of long-term plan to work even at a deeper level with that, and that's my intention. That's what I'm doing. I think that certainly I would love to see for people to start coming to Lofoten in that capacity, because I think that the same is happening in Lofoten, right? There's a lot of people that come and they see Lofoten for beautiful landscapes, for beautiful water, but it still ends up being an Instagram story. It still sort of ends up being recognized in that capacity, and that is just not what it is. I would say that that's quite an exploitation of the region. It is yeah, very sad, very sad. But I think, you know, perhaps it is not an accident that certain people will come here, and perhaps this is part of our job to transform their experience. And I literally mean that working with the land and perhaps reactivating certain energies in the land is going to have an effect on these that we even do not have contact with, right? It's just going to sort of be a ripple effect. It's just going to work by itself.
Yeah. And I have an example of that. When I was in Peru in 2018, a friend of mine was also in Peru. We didn't know about each other, but both of us was in Peru at the same time. And she was like a normal tourist, seeing all what Peru had to offer and a lot of things, Machu Picchu. But when I was in Peru for a month, I work with energy every day. And I don't know, remember how many shamans, but we have primarily 5 shamans we work with. And we work with energy every day, transforming and kind of. So we were both in Peru. She was like a tourist, seeing all this attraction like normal tourist. But when I was finished 1 month in Peru, I said, I need a month or several month vacation because I was exhausted. It was so deep. And it was so much transformation and a lot of learning also. But so the spiritual aspect, if we want to go to the transformation, and it was also another death experience for me because we were on 5,000 meter above water. So I got this breathing, I couldn't breathe. So this 5 day, it was like another death because I didn't get any oxygen. So it was deep work. So that's what you also say. We come to Lofoten and Lyngen to see the beauty of what it can help us to transform to like a butterfly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think you see, this is I would love to have been to Lyngen, and I would love to have seen it. We did speak before, right? That there was a moment in October last year when I was actually traveling to the north of Norway, even further up north and east, so towards Alta that way, Karasjok, Kautokeino. And just on a way, for obviously for if there's anybody from Norway who then they can follow sort of what I mean. But as you sort of turn off from the main road around Norgesbotn onto Alta, right? Yeah. I remember we were driving there. It was evening, so I couldn't really see anything, but I could feel that the energy is amazing. Like I was thinking, like, oh, this was such a good idea for a trip. Perfect, because literally we turned off from that road that would have gone to Tromsø onto the Alta, right? And I'm feeling this amazing energy. Great. Well, that was over past Skibotn. So I think sort of around there, and I'm thinking, what happened? And I didn't know what happened. I didn't know what happened until we spoke, right, recently. And you told me, well, guess what, in that area between those two, but a little bit further up north, you have the Lyngen Alps. That's probably what you were feeling. I just needed there because that was not the destination for us. So I can absolutely confirm that I could feel it. I would have loved to seen it and spend time, go directly and experience that, but I haven't.
Here, and I will come to Lofoten, so we have just met, so of course we will, because it's not so much distance. We are both
it's close,
part of Norway and Arctic, so yeah.
Yeah, and one thing that you learn in Norway, right, is that 4 or 5 hours drive is close. It's like you say that to someone in Germany, and that's almost from one border to another. But in Norway, it's close. So that's how it is.
We cannot say it maybe, but in the northern part of Norway, because if you go to the southern part of Norway, they also say, what? Alta and Tromsø, it's like, can't you just deliver the package because it was supposed to go to Tromsø and it was delivered to Alta. Well, it's 6 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, northern Norway is a whole different experience. So, yeah, we live in a bit of a different way here. But part of so where is the magic in Lofoten? If let's unwrap it a little bit. I'm sure that for people who might have been looking a little bit into these magical places, the Devil's Tower, for example, in the US, right? Which is, well, what is that? It's a mountain or something, right? Well, we're told that it's a mountain, but one of the things that I had to, and I think everybody on the spiritual path needs to go through that process, is unlearning everything you know. and realizing that everything you know, everything you've been taught most likely is a lie. Okay, and you have to sort of take off a pair of glasses of that programming, conditioning, and look at the world again, and kind of through the eyes of a child, almost like questioning everything, just letting go of all the filters. And suddenly that Devil's Tower, which is the mountain in the US, it's not a mountain, right? It's a giant tree. It's a giant petrified tree. So if you, and those are everywhere. They are in Australia, they are in Europe, they are in America, several places. They are in the South America as well. And here we come to Lofoten. Yeah. We have them in Lofoten as well. And not so much that you can see perhaps that well from the sea level, which is pretty much where we operate in Lofoten. Yeah. But when you send a drone, when you see those pictures from the drones, I have found probably 2 or 3, and for sure 2 are, there's no question about it. More are, they are a little bit kind of hidden, sort of between other mountains and other rock formations, but 2 giant petrified trees that have been cut down. This is part of our not so glorious history. It was all done on purpose very long time ago. We have that in Lofoten. And that is one of the reasons. I'm thinking you probably have that in Lyngen. That's probably also what you're gonna experience. So those giant petrified trees, you will see how you will recognize them, because they literally, they have the rock formation. It looks like a rock, but it would have undergone a petrification process. So when wood turns into rock, it kind of mineralizes under certain conditions, but still it sustains the same sort of structure, and it sort of looks in the same way. So when you look at the Devil's Tower, I mean, of course, we are told that trees are only this big and that's it, and there are no big giant massive trees. So we naturally, the brain doesn't even recognizes that as anything else other than a mountain. And the same happens in Lofoten, right? Or anywhere in the world, until you start deprogramming and start sort of seeing things without that illusion glasses, which is what they want us to have. And specifically in Lofoten, for those who know Lofoten or been there or maybe even lived there, have a look at pictures of Hamnøy. From above, from the drone, have a look at the sort of big mountain formations around Kvalvika beach. So that's where you will see what I'm talking about. And we also have pyramids in Lofoten. These are much older pyramids than Egypt. You know, everybody, the marketing around pyramid is very limited, right? We know about the pyramids. We think Egypt, we think maybe Cambodia, maybe a little bit in Mexico, the sort of post-Aztec. And no, there is so much more. There is so much more. Plenty of those are hidden or overtaken by nature, but those that are much older than the ones that we really officially know about, you can see that. You can see that in Lofoten as well. Again, drone pictures. For example, the one of them is found. You need a drone, or you need to climb up there behind the Ramberg beach. So sort of up there, if you take a hike up there, you will, and send the drone, you will see it's actually quite perfect. That one. Another one is pretty much the mountain that shows up as you travel from Ramberg towards Reine, and you sort of come across the area with bridges. So right behind you, you have a pyramid as well. So we can maybe later add some pictures for people to see that. So it's, you know,
I look forward to seeing that, but it goes even in, it's almost in my area. I haven't been there. Yes, I was there when I was 13, but that's right. A year ago.
yeah, it's absolutely, you know, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You will also learn how to spot them, how to recognize them, and once you learn that, you will see them in many other places that you will travel. But again, like I say, you really the biggest, I think, the biggest part of that spiritual awakening, and it just needs to happen. We cannot just play with spirituality without seeing the truth. That goes hand in hand, right? So this is part of that unlearning, or perhaps seeing through the illusions, through the lies, is to see this realm for what it truly is. And once you do it, you start appreciating and you start recognizing a history that you had no idea about.
Yeah, but when I bring people here, like a retreat, we don't see formation like that. They are transforming, and some are puking, and some are laughing, and some get angry. So the transformation can be, yeah, it can be all ways, kind of, but it is the energy that brings everything up, the aspect that is supposed to come up. So yes, they have someone, a lot of them say, oh, I feel like a child having my fun back again. It's like, yeah, and feeling like a divine being as we are. So you are kind of brought back into essence, and that can be in so many ways that you're but the masks and all the protection has to go first. So most of the retreat, the masks go off, the masks go off, and the masks go off, and half of the retreat has a trip to the bluest water because they want it, because it's kind of amazing. But just being here, the transformation, if you have said, oh, I want to go to Lyngen, or I want to go to Lofoten because of the energy it will support me, when we decide, the process already start.
Exactly.
So when they are coming here, it's like, oh, wow, because you have decided I will go there. And kind of, when you are living from your soul, that's beyond time and space. So it's then the transformation start.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
But we are so supported. And when we talk about this, it's like, we shouldn't maybe have said this, because I don't want a lot of people, like big tourism, because
coming here now, right?
I know that it's not so, because it's from starting to be here till now, it's so many more tourists now than just a couple of years ago. So it's more and more and more and more. But yeah, we can't stop them. So I thought, okay, maybe we shouldn't say that Lyngen and Lofoten is such an amazing spiritual places, bringing up the best in us. But at the same time, we heal Mother Earth with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that in a sense, we should not sort of take away from the Earth Mother in a way that she doesn't know what she's doing, right? If there is all this traffic coming to Lofoten, coming to Lyngen, and perhaps that's on the rise, I think Lofoten has been overcrowded for a long time, but I think that whether these people are fully aware of, and I'm sure that it would serve them so much more if they could be more aware, but I still believe that there is something that happens. It needs to, it does. There's that seed is planted even for those that come there and have no idea where they've really been. So I think that these processes I think we need to give credit to the universe, credit to the Earth Mother for orchestrating certain things, and I'm just very, very glad that I can be part of it, kind of a little bit on the side, and perhaps at some point be able to make it more conscious, make it a journey for people who are coming here on a more conscious level, and perhaps that will transform tourism from that exploitation aspect to a little bit more, or much more spiritual and full of gratitude and appreciation, which is absolutely what I would love. And I think everybody in Lofoten would benefit from that, and probably in Lyngen as well.
Yeah, the first time I had retreat here, a lot of transformation, but I have had contact with several of them, and some of them go back kind of to the old, and they try to hold it, but the family, the man, the children, all, they go back to the old paradigm.
Ways.
And it's hard to hold it. And they say, I'm longing so to Lyngen, because I found my essence there, but it's hard to hold it because everyone wants to put me in this role. So I'm having more retreats now. So it also, we have to hold it, because
Yeah, absolutely.
some people think it's hard to hold it when they go back to the family life. So
Yeah.
that's also need kind of, how do we help them to hold it? And that's why also I have built several community also online, because then we can, okay, we are here,
Support.
we are living this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree more. And I always used to joke that we are all very spiritual until we have to spend the weekend with our parents, right? So that's where it gets tested, and with the family. But yeah, I mean, jokes aside, absolutely agree that whatever people experience, and that transformation happens, when you go back, that's when the real test happens, right? Are you gonna sort of jump back to the old ways and sort of be sucked back into that lower sort of level, or are you going to now keep up at it, and perhaps, yeah, perhaps your way forward, your path forward is unfortunately in a sort of different arrangement. Perhaps that doesn't serve you anymore, and it's okay, you know. It's I'm sorry, but this path is sometimes requiring us to walk away from things that no longer serve, no longer support the journey, right? No longer support our best version of ourselves. And that's part of self-love. I mean, we cannot be talking self-love, we cannot be talking self-respect, and then go back and be treated badly. And you know, spirituality is not something to happen in Lyngen and in Lofoten and at the retreat. It is every day, you know, bread and butter, chop wood, carry water, and cry and sweat, blood and tears. I mean, that's spirituality. It is your everyday thing. So for, you know, for me, for example, it required me to walk away from things that I considered lifelines. I mean, I considered, you know, my career back in oil and gas. I mean, I was at the top. I was not sort of trying for years and getting nowhere. No. I stepped away from an amazing place, and because it was just, it didn't have anything there. I stepped away from relationships that were not very healthy, right? That were holding me back, that were perhaps on purpose trying to derail me, right? So this is what a woman who is walking the path needs to do, and that's the courage, that's the that's part of that journey, that you're gonna have to find that confidence, that courage, and perhaps that belief in self, that's the right thing to do for you.
Yeah, I know that several women will break up of their relationship, but at the same time, a lot of people want their husband to be with them. So it's not only one way to do it. And when I transform, I got the choice. I could go very fast forward, or I could wait for my family to transform. And for me, it was easy to wait these 5 extra years, because it took 5 extra years to have them with me, because I had changed so much. I had the same body, but I was a completely another person from 2013 when I started to transform. So I have the same husband and the same kids, and I guide people that say they want their husband with them, or their partner with them, and their kids, and I respect them and honor them for that, because that is also, it requires even more in one level, because then we hold also the space for our family. So I encourage people also, if they say that I want him to be with, because he's not holding back, but because you also have to find out, okay, is he holding too much back?
Exactly.
So it is kind of the balance to find out.
Yeah.
And we can try, someone tries for a year or two and it's going, and then, okay, it doesn't go anyway. So we just have to, we have a new, unique path, all of us there.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you. Of course, you know, every situation is individual. I would only probably add that it is still not sort of our job and our responsibility to force or expect from our partner or our family to come along, right? So of course, if there is a strong opposition and sort of they have their own path, or they just don't want to support this, they don't want to join, then do not try to convert, do not try to force, do not try to wait either, because it's just not going to happen, right? I think we have to be very careful about stepping into the savior complex, because that's actually part of programming. So trying to save and wait for others and heal others and rescue, that's also a bit of a still programming.
Yeah, but I can share my experience, because in the beginning I wanted my partner to kind of see me with the new eyes, my transformation, but he couldn't do that because he hadn't gone. He went to his kind of transformation in his way, witnessing my darkness of the soul and all what happening to me. But what I learned is that he had to get to know me in a new way, and to get to know me in the new way, where what the woman I have today took him 5 years. And we discussed in the beginning, we don't know if this will work or not, because you are totally changed and I'm totally changed, because the foundation of us was totally different. So we are a couple in a totally different way. So we respect each other. So he doesn't see himself as spiritual, but he respects everything I do, and I respect everything he do. So if we just have the respect and the reverence for each other's life, and then we complement, we have a complementary partnership. It's like he support me, I support him, even though I don't understand. He's very good in technical mechanic thing and fixing a lot of things that I don't understand, and he don't understand all this traveling in dimension and past and future that I do, but we respect each other. So I think if we can come to the foundation to respect each other, have reverence for each other, then I think, yeah, it's perfect. We can go forward like a spiritual partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have a living proof in front of you that actually that technical and that complicated stuff and that engineering stuff absolutely can meet that spirituality. Sooner or later it will. So
Yeah. Yeah, you have that background.
Yeah. So that's certainly, I mean, I still kind of I think that there is still a lot of benefit for me in my in the way I approach things, that I'm kind of able to step or have one foot in this world and the other foot in the other world, because I think I can still provide that bridge for people to literally cross over, you know, to and be able to feel comfortable, because I think that perhaps spirituality, that word, I don't even like that word that much, because it's been overused and it's been abused. It's been sort of used to almost give people that kind of boo-hoo feeling, some kind of weirdness going on there. And that's not true spirituality. That there's a lot of imposture thing going on there, right, with the new age and everything. That's it's just part of that illusion, still part of that programming and illusion. And then comes that authentic, grounded experience, and that can only come from literally your own journey with yourself and nature, not through some, you know, complicated, convoluted courses and personal developments. I don't know, paths. It's
also spiritualism has been in a hierarchy. It's like, I have come longer than you. I know I have been here in 20 years. I have more experience. So it has been kind of hierarchy in all structure, in health structure, in doctor, in so all the hierarchy structure has to transform.
Absolutely.
Direct experience, as we have spoken about, because you felt the energy and I felt the energy. So it is that we are now in an era that we feel, we sense. We use our senses in a bigger, so it's not, oh, you have stronger sensor than I'm. It's no hierarchy. We know that all of us have the same value, so we can help each other. It's nothing, I'm better than you and you're better.
Absolutely.
Competition, it's transforming. It's not competition. We are kind of complementary, like the partnership, complementary partnership, not only in in sexual partnership, but also a bigger complementary partnership. I have several complementary partnership with in England and in France and in a lot of people that we hold the divine and we know who we are in essence and we help each other.
Absolutely. And that's a very good point, because I think we need to, if we truly want to create that change that we're talking about, we have to move away from that competition. We have to move away from all these mind-based concepts and you know, all that hierarchy, all these structure. These are old system structures. These are very patriarchal, right? I mean, you see hierarchy everywhere. Somebody needs to be here, somebody needs to be there, somebody is better, somebody is worse, and that's not how it works. So and the same, this is why it's so beautiful for me to work with women, because with women, when you I think a lot of us, right, a lot of women still come from that background where there was a little bit of hierarchy, right, and that ego kind of sits there, and you know, I can see auras, and I can see, I have I don't know, traveled in astral realms and whatnot, and it's like, just stop that nonsense. You know, no one is better and no one is worse. Like, as long as you have your feelings and you're a woman, you know, we are all equal. All our experiences, our alchemical magic, which is specifically what I happen to work with, is down to the way a woman is constructed and built physically, literally, spiritually, and emotionally, all these different layers. And in that sense, we are all the same. We are all, you know, we have the same hormones, we have the same construction, you know, internally, the sort of the body, etc. So we are equipped exactly in the same way, so there's no difference. And that's what I really love, and that's pretty much the message that you know, I take women back to the basic, back to that grounded, authentic experience, and we cross a little bit between the science and spirituality. But there's absolutely no competition, no hierarchy, no comparisons. When that happens, then this is not true spirituality. This is something else.
And it's not a comparison also between men and women, because we are different. I have been man so much in my past life, so I have experienced being a man, and I have been in so many wars, fighting. But the last years, I have been woman. So, and I experienced a big difference between man and women, but the most important is to respect each other, to have reverence, because we have chosen from our soul, we have chosen this life, I'm a woman, another life I have been man. So it's like, we just have to respect the choice we have done from kind of our source. It's nothing that is better or worse. It's like it is the playground we are on now. Mother Earth is kind of a playground with alchemical polarity and how to work to manifest the dream life we want. And both of us are working with people that really want to step up to creating heaven on earth, as I call it, heaven on earth, and also working with the alchemy of the body, because our body is alchemy.
And that is a very important point. I think the agenda very much in the current world is to put men and women into competition and into some kind of antagonistic situation where there is tension and there is conflict, whereas there absolutely doesn't need to be. We are different, and we should celebrate these differences, because we have been created differently for a reason. And if we could embrace the differences and not try to convince one another that we can be exactly like you, because you know, the role of a woman is, it's not about being able to do everything a man can, but being able to do what a man can't, and the other way around as well. So it is not about comparing, it is not about who's better and who is worse. We are different, and we have our role. women's role, very big role in creation, universal creators, birthing, but not just children, birthing universes, birthing worlds, bringing things into materialization. That's what women do. Women are creators. Men, on the other hand, men are the ones to create the right environment for a woman so that she can step into that, so that she can feel safe, so that she can feel taken care of in. And please do not take it out of proportion as it is right now into literally it's all about money and it's all about submission. That's absolute. This is an agenda that has been unfolding on purpose to literally destroy the sacredness of what we are discussing, right? And men in their healthy masculine element are absolutely needed, but men in that healthy element absolutely recognize the sanctity, the sacredness of a woman, and the fact that there are certain things that only woman can facilitate and enable. And this is not because she's better, but because that's what we are, that's what we happen to be built for. But so are men. Men happen to be, through their hormonal system, for example, built to defend us, built to protect us, built to defend life. And that's what they should do. Instead of, you know, having these aggression, conflicts, and go at each other. That's absolutely not where this should be going.
No, and I want to add another element, because as mothers, we really hold the energy for our babies. Yes, the father, he do a lot of amazing things, but when we go to the essence, I see that because I have worked with a lot of mothers and daughters and sons, the mother energy, because the child is in our womb, and we nourish them when they are babies, so the energy that the mother holds, it is so important. So when a woman becomes pregnant with a child, we should really support her even more than ever, because the surrounding and the habitat for the when we are pregnant and the first life, it's so we are programming a child, we are programming a whole life, so it's so important. So the man should be even more helpful to the woman, helping her to really get this foundation for the child, because this foundation is kind of the programming for the whole life. So it's so important.
Absolutely. In that context, of course, women, the life givers, right? The portal to the other side, both ways. But I do want to stress, this is what I work with specifically, that we are not, when I'm talking alchemy, when I'm talking about women and the magic, the alchemical magic of women, I'm not just talking the ability to get pregnant, because that's actually a very small capacity of what true full alchemy is about. And we, of course, have women. Women happen to be spiritually sort of organized or designed in a way where our energy is 1,000 times stronger in that sense of creation than men. That's why we are designed for that. This is why women are connected spiritually stronger than men are. So as a result of that, women are walking, living shamans. That's why even in archaeology or in history, if we go down any path of shamanism, whether that's in Siberia or even Sami, right here where we are in Norway, the first shamans back in the day, we always find, and Norse mythology as well, the first shamans to be women. And this is a little bit of a, I have to explain a little bit there, because the reason why it goes back to women is because, yes, it was women, but that's because shaman is one of alchemical aspect of every woman. So women as shamans, crossing between worlds, women as shamans would be facilitating certain spiritual processes for men. By facilitating, I don't mean that we would be the ones carrying out some kind of ritual, not exactly, but certain things, like a child needs to come through a woman, and it only goes through a woman. This is why back in a day, men knew, this is why we have that in folklore, in fairy tales,
Yeah.
that whenever a man wanted to become king, or a man became king, he needed a consort, he needed a woman, he needed a woman who would be connected to the land, to assure fertility for the land, and and that birthing, that renewal, right? He knew that he was not going to be able to access that himself. He needed to access that through a woman, and so the woman walks between worlds in so many more ways than what we realize. That knowledge has been hidden, or it's kind of got a little bit distorted, to a point where we might be looking at it, but we don't really know what we are looking at, what we are seeing. And that's exactly what I would like to bring back, and for more women to reconnect with, and men as well, because if men remember that aspect, those aspects about their partner, their wife, their mother, their daughter, the sister, I think the attitude towards women, that will shift, and that will shift very, very fast. That respect, that reverence, that adoration as well, in a good way, because there is a reason, right, why in patriarchy women have been pushed into that submissive, subdued role for centuries and centuries, because a woman in that kind of energy is not able to step into her alchemy. And when women do step into alchemy, we change the world. Not by what we do physically, because women are not doers. It's actually vei, do without doing. Why? Because we energetically affect things. We bring things into being by materializing through our womb, not by hands. Hands are for men.
And we are doing it because we are lifting this topic, and both of us are working as shamans. And I have said now for the last year, I have committed to be the medicine woman of the new era or the future. And it is because I can travel in dimension. And it's easier for me to travel in dimension than it is for men. Because I have this feminine aspect of me, and also being here in Lyngen, it's like wow, it can be sometimes too much, but it's like it is easier for us as women to hold and to bring it down, to help others, and to hold the sacred space also, and to birth new realities. Because I go to the future and get medicine from future, but the future are also already here. So when we work in dimension, we know that everything happens here. So we bring past, future into the now. So the future medicine is here now. And that's the alchemical, because being a medicine woman, you are alchemical. You know that this is the alchemical stuff you are working with in consciousness and the whole body.
And from that perspective, the future or the past is kind of irrelevant, because it's really, you are here and now. That's the only moment that counts. We can be talking about some past lives or future or whatever. Well, it's right now. Right now is what you're working with, right? That's the only thing that you know for sure. And of course, what you said, that you have sort of more power or more ability than man to do certain things. I'm sorry, but we have to stop being afraid to say these things, because we are built for that. Literally, in terms of our hormones, in terms of our endocrinology, biology, we are built for certain things. Men accepted that they cannot give birth to a child. They accepted that, right? That's okay. But as it happens, for the same reasons, which is that I have a womb and you don't, men, right? I am able as a woman, and this is not just me and you, right? We're talking all women in this world, and I would absolutely love for women to rediscover that in themselves, and sort of start reconnecting to that. But we are all built that way, where we happen to be able to do certain things that men cannot, and that's okay. But this is exactly the time of us women returning into that wisdom, into that capacity, that full alchemical capacity, because the times are requiring that, and we're kind of, time is ticking here, right? So this is probably, I would say, this is the highest calling of every woman being born and alive right now, to reconnect with that alchemy.
Yeah, and I just want to give an example, and it's not to say that it's better to be woman. I just have to highlight that it's not better to be a woman. It's just different.
It's
And
just
when I was living in Guatemala in the beginning of 1600, another life, I was the shaman, I was the doctor, I was the priest. I was the leader for my tribe. So it was a big tribe. They were the Maya people, and my wife, she was the real doctor. She was the alchemist. So I was the kind of the shaman and the priest and the tribe leader outwards, and I held order in the tribe. But the one who had the real deepest wisdom and alchemy, it was my wife. She was in the background guiding me all the time because she hold it. I couldn't hold it the way she does. I do it now in this life, but when I did it in the beginning of 1600 as a man, when I did the same as I do now, I I didn't have the feminine capacity to do like I do now. And it's not to say that it's worse or better, but we are different. So we just have to honor that we are different and we have different tasks. So it's important that, okay, this life I have chosen to be a woman, and it's a reason for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, that reverence, I think, should go both ways, right?
Yeah.
It's not only men towards us, but it's also for us towards men in a sense that, you know, I don't want to be defending myself. I don't want to be worried about my well-being, my safety, etc. I want man to step into exactly what he's good at and what he's made for and what he feels most comfortable in that healthy masculinity. He wants to take care of a woman in all sorts of ways, right? And please do not, let's
And a lot of men are doing it. Yeah, and a lot of men are doing it so perfectly, and all the respect and honor to them, because there are so many amazing men doing that. So it is just as important as being a woman. So we just have to respect each other, that we are different. We want to complementary each other. We want to bring the best in both of us.
Exactly, and that's how that works. It's just that as it happens, you know, due to physical differences, that's what men are sort of specifically created for, and that's what we are specifically created for, and that's okay.
Yeah. Wow, I love this conversation. Thank you so much, Ola Wolny. Maybe we will have another podcast another time, because this was, it was amazing connecting with you, just living in my neighborhood. Almost.
Absolutely. I would love to come back, and perhaps there's even more to do in another capacity. We are very close to each other in the end of the day.
And you will come to Lyngen and I will come to Lofoten, so we have to explore this.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that trip is definitely waiting for me there.
Yeah.
And you're very welcome down here.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Ola Wolny.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for watching, and good night.
Thank you for listening to the Divine Design podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. You can follow divinedesign.it on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Join us next Sunday for another Heaven on Earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence, and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. From the divine in us to the divine in you.